If you ever felt tired, overworked, or unsure about how to actually sell your craft and want to turn your passion into a real, organized, and profitable business, you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Christina, creative business productivity coach and someone who truly understands what it feels like to juggle creativity, clients, and real life. This podcast is here to help you grow from feeling overwhelmed and doing everything on your own to building a creative business that feels organized, sustainable, and actually works for you. Because you're not meant to figure this out alone. Let's get into today's episode and welcome to the Art K Coach podcast. Hey, my sweet friend. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to give back is to follow the podcast, download the episode, and leave a review. It helps more cake artists like you find this space. Share it on social media, tag me at the Arcade Coach, and come say hi. I would love to connect with you. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or check the links in the show notes to stay connected. Well, hello, my sweet and creative friends. How are you today? Christina here. Welcome to another episode of the Arcade Coach podcast. I'm recording live from Lisbon, Portugal. Here we are set for another week of productivity, success, and of course, everything around the topic of productivity and time management for creatives. How's everybody doing today? Today's episode, I've been thinking a lot about today's episode because a lot has been happening and there's a lot going on behind the scenes, a lot of things that are building up, but they're not yet, you know, ready to show. But on the way, I have learned so much about my business, about myself, even about time management, even about all of the how to apply the things that I know about time management that I decided, well, I think I'm going to give a little sneak peek behind the scenes on my head. The mind of Christina. So today is going to be more personal. Probably me yapping and talking a lot, preaching on the microphone. I haven't done that in a while. It's not as structured as last week's episode. Last week's episode was really structured, spot on. I'm very proud of that one. If you want to go check it out and tell me what do you think about that one. I've been doing a lot of guest episodes as well because I've had a few interviews that I'm packing the interviews so I can leave them for later on because I'm planning. But part of my planning is I'm going to stop for the month of August. I'm going to take a break. I did it last year and I really enjoyed it. Just taking that break, that creative break, or that workload break, so my creative mind actually could um, run free, if you can call it. So I'm planning on doing the same this year. So I'm packing a few guest episodes so I can release them during the month of August because they're already recorded. And today, like I said, I wanted it to be more personal. So I really wanted to share with you a few things that have come my way in sort of like a magical way, sorry to be so repetitive, in a almost like it was put there by destiny with the right message at the right time to make sense of things that in my head didn't make sense at some point. Bear with me, this is going to be crazy right today. And I wanted to share that with you, but it's going to make sense at the end. You know me, you know that I always find a structure, whatever it is that I do. And just to tell you what's going on in the inside of the person that is the inside of this business. Because I believe that once you start looking inside and once you start getting to know yourself more and come to peace with every part of you, good and bad, everything starts to align to what is supposed to happen. And it even starts to align to what's supposed to happen in your business. So that's what today is all about. Bear with me, a lot of confession times. I'm going to be very honest and vulnerable today. It's more like a storytelling, but it's for you. So stay here because the episode is about to start. So, welcome back, my sweet and creative friends, and buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride today. Okay, so let me start with why am I doing this? I'm doing this. This is sort of like a confession time episode, and I'm doing it because I I was fed up. I think I mentioned it in an episode before. There's some aspects of my work. I'm not going to call it my business because it's my work. It's what I kept uh, going on for a long time. The deep down didn't make sense to me. My head works in a way that I have to find a structure, a pattern, and it has to make sense. And there were aspects of my work that just didn't make sense. I couldn't find the pattern. I couldn't find the outcome. I couldn't find the structure. And of course, that made me think that um, at first made me thought it made me think that there was something wrong with me. Then made me think that I just wasn't doing things right, that I wasn't getting the help that I needed. Then I invested in the help, and I realized that it was not about the help. So I thought maybe it's not this help, maybe it's another help. Then I restructure everything. Then I try to change the message. Then I try to do so many things. And at the end of the day, it always felt like there's something that is not adding up. And I'm going to be very honest with you today. One of those endeavors was Cake Friends Stay Creative, or has been Cake Friends Stay Creative. At the beginning, it was very clear what was for. But once the reason for Cake Friends, the community, stop being relevant, because there was no lockdown, there was no pandemic, there was everybody needed to go back to their own lives and their own work. It stopped making sense, and I tried to make sense out of it because of the sake of the people who was there, because of the sake of the structure, the group, the community that we already had. But at some point it stopped making sense, and it was really hard to let go. And I've been talking about letting go to open to new opportunities, and still I have to be honest with you guys, I haven't let go completely. It's still there, the group is open, it's just sitting there. There is no much that I'm doing over there right now. Then when the awards came along, the DMAs and the nominations for the group, I thought, well, maybe this is the purpose of the group. The group deserves the recognition, so I'm going to work hard. So for the group to get the recognition it deserves, to be in the spotlight that it deserves for everybody that is there. But the recognition never came. It came from the kind words of many of the people that said to me how important the group was, and I don't take that lightly. I think that's one of my biggest rewards from Cake Friends. It's knowing that at some point it helped so many of you overcome difficulties and difficult times. Fine, I'm like, check mark, I'm done. Thank you very much, good night. But of course, I wanted it to be something else. So the nominations came. We worked really hard for that. We didn't get the awards, over and over again, 3 times to be exact. And it came a point that I was like, this is not going to happen because the group is losing momentum. And I don't think I can keep it up just for the sake of an award once a year. I just can't. And I really need to, like everybody else in the group, I really need to take care of my work, and I really need to take care of my business. See that I'm talking about work and business, two different things. Um, so it's there. It's just sitting there. And like Cake Friends Stay Creative, maybe my YouTube channel at some point, my teachable. I had a teachable school, not the school community at school platform, but it was like a cake decorating school. It wasn't getting anywhere either, and I had to close it. It was good. It was actually a good decision that I made. It was okay, and I had to let it go. And it made me think of all of the times that I have let go of things and start over. And me being me, I realized, okay, I need to learn a lesson from all of this. So, what is the lesson, Christina? is to let go of things, is to give up, because I always thought that that was a default on me, giving up. Like, oh, it's not working, I'm just going to move on and do something else. And I thought of it as a flaw. I thought of it as, you're not consistent, you give up easily. But it was because I was looking at it from a small lens. The macro lens, when you take a picture and it's very, very close up, but you're missing all the things behind. You're missing, like, everything in the back of the picture looks blurry. Recently, I start looking at my whole story, because I'm working on, I'm working with a coach on strategizing and changing, and going through this changing period and this changing moment in my business that is expanded to creatives and that is niching down to time management. So we took the time to look at it from the big picture. And once I look at it from the big picture, or as a big picture, I realized that it was never about giving up. It was never about being a coward or quitting. It's it was about building something that needed those little steps to get somewhere. And that was an aha moment. And I wanted to share that with you, because so many times in our businesses, in our cake businesses, our creative businesses, we feel like that. We feel that we are giving up on something, compromising on things, throwing the towel. But maybe if you look at the big picture and you add up the steps, you realize that all of that is bringing you to a point in your life where you're supposed to be. I do believe in faith. I do believe in destiny somehow. I do believe that we get there at some point. For some of us, it takes longer. For some people, it takes less. But if you're clear that on the outcome that you want, you're going to get there eventually. There are ways to get there faster, there are ways to get there easier, but you're going to get there. So I took a moment. I look back at all of the things that I have done since I started my cake business 18, 20, 19, it's going to be this year, years ago. And I realized that it was never about quitting. Like when I started doing all kinds of cakes, and then I realized one day I don't do wedding cakes anymore. It was not about quitting the wedding cakes. It was about being honest with myself and removing something that wasn't necessary from my path so I can move on. I would look at it more like moving on, like stepping up. Like when you're climbing a ladder, or you're going up the stairs. So it's like one step up. Like, okay, I let that go so I can move to this next step. So, my sweet friends and my creative friends, I'm sharing this with you today because if by any chance you've been in a point in your life, or you've been really hard on yourself because you think that you're a coward, that you're a quitter, and that everybody else has it figured out but you, look at the big picture, because the big picture might tell you a different story. And that's where I want to go today. That's the next point that I want to make. Stories. The stories that we build along our lives and our business lives matter. And even though I'm a storyteller by default, and you must know that now, I was always a little bit afraid of sharing it, in the back of my head, my mind, because it was like, ugh, people is going to, and this might sound crazy because I'm very open and very vulnerable here on the podcast, and I'm being honest with you guys all the time. But it feels that if I share all of it, you will see through it. You will see my flaws. And another thing that I realize is, first of all, how important storytelling is for our businesses. Where your story lies your unique selling point, lies your uniqueness. Let me be repetitive. And lies that little thing that's going to set you apart from everybody else. We know that the industry is busy. We know that the industry is full of people. And now that I'm going through the creative side and I'm seeing all these creative businesses, how many cake businesses and creative businesses are out there on Instagram? Let's say just Instagram or TikTok. Thousands, millions of it everywhere in the world. And it could be very overwhelming for us. It could be daunting. So what do? We start comparing ourselves with everybody else. We think everybody else has it figured out but us. And we start second guessing, doubting ourselves, and the imposter syndrome comes in, and then I feel like a failure, and so on, so on. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with you guys today. However, what if instead of checking on everybody else's lives and everybody else's business, I start checking on my own life, on my own story? What is the story that's been happening in my cake business and life? Because we cannot kind of separate those. Uh, that is actually me. That is what's going to make me be unique, be stand out from the crowd. Not be unique, but yeah, be unique, but stand out from the crowd. What is that story? And here comes the aha moment. You know where it lies? It lies in the flaws. It lies in the defeating. It lies in the battles that you lose or the towels that you throw. That's where your story lies. The more vulnerable we are, the more human we are, and we connect with human. Another takeaway that I want to share with you today is that check on your own story. We're going to talk about story in a second, a little bit deeper, but check on your own story and be brave enough to take a look at the big picture and at your flaws and at the times that it didn't happen. Because whatever you learned from that moment, whatever came from that moment, that's where your story lies. That's where the true you is. And the true you is the one that is going to make your business, your creative business, your cake business unique. That's it. And it's going to stand out from the crowd. Own it. I always say this in the podcast and in everything that I say. Own whatever it is that's going on, own it. Own your flaws. I said it to my students as well. Own your flaws. If you don't own your flaws, you're never going to overcome them. That's who you are. That's what brought you to the point where you are. So, yeah, that's another takeaway story. And talking about story, of course, we need to think about not only the story that brought us to this point. In my case, I can tell you so many. I can tell you how I felt. I was always behind because I never opened a bakery, because I always worked from home. I never had a place to go to work. I was too scared to invest, or I didn't have the money to it. And I wasn't resourceful enough to find the money to do it. But then when the pandemic hit, I kind of say, oh, thank goodness I didn't have any big major bakery open, because with the way that I was running my business for so long, which was a bad way because I didn't know what I was doing until I realized I needed help, I would probably be in a lot of debt right now. And probably the story of my life would have been different. So, okay, that was a blessing in disguise. Sure. Or when I decided not to make wedding cakes, and everybody's like, that's where the money is. Why you're not making wedding cakes? Because I don't want to. I can't. I don't like it. It gets me. I'm really stressed about that. And I got to be known by something very specific, which was my modeling pieces, my sugar paste modeling pieces. And then I was in a point in my life that I needed money. I needed more money. What do I do? I'm going to teach. What I'm going to teach, something that nobody's teaching, the gelatins. I know this. I can do it. And I came to be known as the gelatin lady here in Portugal. And I taught gelatin for 2 years. I made tons of money, the money that I needed to make. And then one day it stopped. Nobody wanted to know gelatins anymore. It was, it was a fashion. It was a trend. It was a thing. Everybody learned, and it was like, well, yeah, whatever. It's just gelatin. Did I just stay there and said, "Oh my God, my life is over, my identity is over, my business is over"? No. What do people want now? They want buttercream cakes. Well, let's get to know all buttercream cakes. Of course, then pandemic hit, and then Cake Friends Stay Creative, and then my life was a whole different story. But all of those moments that I thought, well, this could be a bad thing. This could be something that is losing, that is going to make me lose my business, that is going to um, have a consequence that I don't want to have. We're actually building blocks for what was coming next. That brought me to here today, Christina, 23rd of June, 2026, 50-year-old talking to you guys here on this microphone. So, the message of this first part for you guys is think about your story, big picture. Don't go into the details, go into the whole story and narrate it in a way that you find the little wins in the tough times. Because those little wins and whatever made you overcome those tough times, that's where your uniqueness lies. Now, in the next part, I'm going to share with you about another part of the storytelling, which is actually telling the story, and how recently I froze and I just couldn't tell it. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Whether you are a cake designer seeking to refine your technical skills or an art lover in all its forms, Cake Art Magazine was created for you. Join us in this celebration of beauty and innovation, where creativity turns into flavor and art is served on a plate. Cake Art Magazine is a digital publication that celebrates edible art, connecting pastry with painting, photography, design, and creativity in all its forms. Each issue brings interviews, inspirations, and stories from artists shaping the world of edible beauty. Discover how art can be seen, felt, and tasted with Cake Art Magazine. Thank you, Cake Art Magazine, and thank you, Sophia Fox, for being part of the Art Cake Coach family. There's something cooking behind the scenes with me and another coach, another cake business coach. I'm not going to tell it just yet because I don't know if we should, but there's something cooking behind the scenes with us and other members of the um, cake industry. And we're trying to get together to do something positive for this industry. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go further than that. And we had a meeting, beautiful meeting with amazing people. And I was kind of like, ooh, I'm in the, I'm in the cool kids table. I'm in the, I'm with all these people. It's like, oh my God. And I'm a very confident person. I'm very sure of myself. And, but I do things my own way. I'm going to put it like that. It's not about a lack of confidence. I do things my own way. It's like I'm what I am. I could be serious, but I could be funny. I'm a little bit all over the place, as you know. But that's what makes me me. I cannot disguise it. I cannot disguise it. I cannot be something else. I cannot be the corporate Christina because that's not me. I'm sorry, I'm not. And and we were in this meeting with all of these people, and there came the time to introduce ourselves. And I was the first one, and I say, "Hey, I'm Christina, and I help people. I help creatives and cake careers manage their time. Thank you very much. Bye bye." That's all I said. And when everybody started talking, they start talking about their businesses, and they start talking about all the things they accomplish, and all their titles, and all their all the greatness that they have done. I was like, oh my God, I was so stupid. I didn't say anything relevant about my business. I kind of, and I was like, oh, this is really bad. It's like, I have this opportunity to present myself in front of this amazing group of people. And I just say two lines of nonsense. That's it. Like, hi, I'm Christina, the art cake coach, and I help cake artists, cake makers and creatives Manage your time. That's it. uh, at the end of the round table, everybody did their introductions, amazing people. And I was like, oh, okay, guys. Well, now that everybody finished, let me just say something else because I think my presentation was kind of short. I also have a podcast. I think that's all I said. I felt so dumb. I felt so dumb. And of course, me being me, I was all in my head, and that threw me off, and I really wanted to, it threw me off, and I was like, why didn't you take that opportunity? So, two things that I learned from that I want to share with you today. Take every opportunity to talk about your business. Take every opportunity you can to present yourself. And, well, actually, I have a kind of controversial point on this one. Talk about your business. Talk about the things that you do. Talk about the people you serve. Do your elevator pitch the best way possible. Uh, do it because you have that one chance. And that day, I felt like I missed that chance. I didn't miss it because they know me. And of course, we're going to get to know each other. So, whatever. But don't miss the chance because maybe one day you will only have that pitch. So, don't miss the chance. That's number one. Number two, have a pitch that like when you get to the point, and I can listen to my friend Natalie, like the voice of Natalie's in my head, Natalie from 13 Rhythms, and she will be saying, your message is important. Yeah, of course it is, and I choked. So have a message prepared, have that page prepared with everything that people need to know about you and your business, because I didn't have it and I felt so dumb in front of those people. I was like, oh my God, Christina, you're just a fake, you're a phony, you don't know what you're doing half of the time. Um, that's the other side of me. But then I talked to myself and said, just shut up. You know what you're doing. And if you don't know, you figure it out. So that's where your superpower lies. It's fine. Next time you will have your pitch ready. But I didn't have it. So have your pitch ready. In the other hand, I have to be very honest because one of the things that I've been working on is being raw honest with myself. I have always been the kind of person that I give so much importance in every aspect of my life to the person in front of me, right? To the essence of the person in front of me. I give so much importance to the energy that that person shares with me, that's what I focus on when I talk to somebody, on being me and my energy. So all the diplomas, all the titles, all the years of experience, all the awards, and I'm not BSing you guys. I do like to win them. I do like to have them, but they're not me. They're not my presentation card. It's just me. I'm being honest. I don't know if it's right or wrong. People who know more than me will tell me if it's right or wrong. But whatever awards I have won, whatever, I don't know, courses and titles and degrees or whatever I have, they're not me. They're things that I have accumulated in my life. Will they make me a better person to help you? Better person to help you manage your time and find that calm productivity? It will give me more tools to help you, but it won't make me a better person to help you. You know what I mean? So I kind of overlook that, and I don't know if I should keep overlooking at that, because in the other hand, I do tell you, celebrate your wins, talk about talk about the things that you have achieved, yes, but it's not my default. Should I make it my default? Because after the round table and everybody was talking diplomas, degrees, numbers, profits, I was like, what? I just help people manage their time. That's what I do. And yeah, it made me think. It made me think. So, if I can share a takeaway from this with you guys, is have a pitch ready. Please have your message on point. So, when the time comes that you need to talk about your business, just do it. Number one. And number two, if the titles, the degrees, the diplomas, and the words are important to you, are what gives you that confidence to say, this is who I am to help you on your business, talk about them and let me know if I should, or should I be true to myself and just keep going the way I've been going. I don't know. I think I might need to talk to Natalie about that one. But anyway, that's my takeaway. That's my takeaway from that. Don't go anywhere, because in the next part, I'm going to be sharing with you something amazing that happened after all of these questions that I put in myself and that I asked myself, and after a long time of meditating about what's next for me and my business. And I think I found it. I think I found it. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. My sweet creative friends, I'm back. So as I've been working with my coach, I do have a coach that I work with, that is helping me going through this phase of not rebranding, because I'm not rebranding, of expanding my niche, but niching down the message, we can say it so. We've been talking a lot about the why I'm doing it, about the reasons, about the message, about, now I have to work on the strategies for my message, of course, more after what I just shared with you guys. My message for social media, you name it. There's so much noise, so much noise. Everybody tells you something different. Everybody suggests things differently. I try to follow, the reels, the content that hooks me in. I save it, so I studied why it's hooking me in, what is the thing that wanted me to be, because I'm going to serve the people that are like me, that resonates with these kinds of messages like me. So I want to learn from those messages to see, but it feels like I'm copycatting things. It doesn't feel like I own it. Um, I'm starting. It's a dual thing right now with social media, because in one hand, I'm really starting to enjoy creating content and making the strategy, like enjoying it. Before it was like a thing to do. Now I'm starting to enjoying it. Like, oh, I'm getting the hang of this, of strategizing and thinking about the social media content. Great. But in the other hand, it feels very overwhelming, a lot of noise, very loud, a lot of opinions, a lot of different things. When you go down the rabbit hole of searching for content, or seeing what other people are doing, then it can go in a very bad way, because you start second guessing everything. You think that you don't know, or you think you need to do more. So yeah, I'm in a dual phase right now with social media, but I think, and working with my coach, the most important thing is for me to focus and think of my core message. So, after asking myself and working on so many questions about why am I doing what I'm doing? Why did I took this decision? Which was a decision, is funny. It was a decision. It was an idea that was in the back of my head for a while. And some people who know me, probably listening to this episode, know that I've talked about this before. Maybe I should talk with more people. There's not just cake makers. Maybe I should expand the message. But time management is my thing, and people, when they think of me, they think about time management. So maybe I should just stick to that. So yeah, it's been something that is going on in my mind for a while. But why now? Why now? Why I decided to do it now and say this is it. So a little bit of backstory. I'm an only child. I grew up as an only child. My dad and my mom got uh, divorced, and my dad remarried. I have a little brother. He's like 27, but anyway, I have a little brother. half brother, but he's my brother. He's amazing. And but I grew up as an only child, pleasing my parents most of my life, all my life, because I had to live to expectations, because I wasn't, funny enough, I wasn't the spoil only child. I had to work my butt off as if I had seven siblings in the house. Like everything lied on me. And I had to please, I had to be the good girl. I have to behave well. In one way, I really thank my parents because they made me very independent, very resourceful, and I don't feel entitled to anything at all. I don't. But in the other hand, I learned from very young age to be a people pleaser and mimic whatever people needed me to be. And this has been a constant. I'm not going to tell you the whole story of my life, but this has been a constant throughout. And I'm not blaming my parents. I'm not. Stop doing that. That has nothing to do with the podcast. But if you keep blaming your parents for whatever happened to you, you're going to be stuck. So just move on. They did whatever they thought they could do with the best intentions, and that's it. I don't blame them at all. Actually, I think they built me the way they built me because I needed to be like that right now. But anyway, I'm not blaming them. My default was people pleasing. I had to please everyone. And I realized that through my childhood, my adolescence, my early youth, and even when I got married and I had my kids, I think up to my 40s, um, I was always looking for, I always had the feeling that I was looking for something that I don't know what it is. If it's a new business, if it's a new thing, it's a new endeavor, I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to travel, and I'm going to do this. But there was like, I was looking for something because something was missing inside. I'm getting very personal here. I'm getting very confession time with you guys. But there's a point in this. Bear with me. Um, and I think in my mid 40s, I start questioning things like, why am I doing this? First you start questioning, like, why am I doing this? Then you start getting to know yourself. And one of the magical things that happened in this last 6 years, and I think the turning point was last year. And I've been very open here on the podcast about turning 50, how daunting that was last year for me. And when I got to the point that I thought I should be in a certain point in my life at 50, and I wasn't. And then I turned 50. So what are you going to do now? Okay, now you have to work it out. That's it. And now you work towards whatever point in your life you want to be, because you have 51 and 52 and 53 or whatever. And that was a turning point for me because I realized that part of the problem was, and that translates to my business. That's why I'm talking about this. I was mimicking what people wanted me to do or expected me to do. Or not people, people. When we say people, general, the whatever is out there, the audience, the other businesses, the whatever. I mean, live to expectations. So I had to behave in a certain way. I have to run my business in a certain way. I have to say certain things in a certain way because I did it with my personal life. So I was doing it also with my business. But I mean, it took me a long time. And now I'm 50. I'm like, I need to find my own voice. Even though I've been talking a lot, even though I've been thinking that I do have my own voice, do I really? Do I have it? What do I want? What do I don't want? What is this thing? What do I want out of what do I really want out of my business? And that is how productivity came to happen. Yes, I did all of this story to tell 10 minutes of storytelling. See, I told you I'm a storyteller. To tell you about how I came to realize what the next phase of the Art K coach is and why I did this change right now. So going back to the original question, why did you decide to expand now and to niche down at this moment? Because again, Going back to the first part of the episode, when I look at the big picture, I realized there was one core message all along. And the core message all along was that whatever I was doing, whatever endeavor I was part of, working from home, having my cake business, teaching, uh, all of these decisions that I made in my life had one core thread, I will say. And it was that I always did it in a way that worked for the life that I wanted to have, that worked for the life that I was living, that took care of my family. And what I mean my family is like, I wasn't going to miss on certain things, and my non-negotiables were always there. And above all, that was not stressful for me. That was the core. I mean, that was the constant. Because when I dropped the wedding cakes was because it was really taking a toll on my mental health and my sanity. Like I was like, it was not good for me. The stress that caused me making wedding cakes. So it's like, no, I need to refocus to whatever it's calm for me, whatever it brings me back to my center. So I dropped them. When I went back to teaching, I said it was because of the money, but actually I needed that sense of security because that sense of security brought me calmness, brought me stability. I mean, all of the things, all of it was okay. The constant is my non negotiables were always there. My goal was always keeping my sanity and keeping status quo of my house, that everything was the way it's supposed to be so I can be there for my family, for my kids. And that's it. And I was like, huh. So that's where the magic lies. It's not in the theory, it's not in the words, it's not in the whatever, it's not in the accomplishments, it's not in the praise and compliments. It's in there. That's who I really am. And I was always different than everybody else because I was always trying to look for that calm space, that space where I could be myself, where I could focus on what I wanted to focus, where my creativity could run free. And once I removed being or trying to please everyone, once I removed trying to live to everybody else's expectations, and once I removed the noise of everything was like, huh, this is who I am. This is what I really been trying to do my whole life. Find a way to make things work, but that doesn't compromise yourself, doesn't compromise who you are and your goals and your outcomes. That's it. And that's when I realized that I gave myself permission to run a business without losing myself in the process. And you know what? That's what I'm here to do for you. But what I'm here to do is to give, again, not like you need my permission, but when somebody else said it, is like, it's okay, you can do it. Just to give you permission in the other side of this microphone to say, I can create a business without losing myself in it and in the process. I mean, you could do it losing yourself in the process. There's people who likes that. But if you're listening to me right now, if you're in the other side of this microphone, it's probably because you don't want to lose yourself in the process. You still want to be you. You still want to have that space that says, this is who I am. And it's doable. Like I said yesterday with Jenny, creating a business requires a lot from you. It does. And you do have to compromise certain aspects of your life. Yes, you do. And the amount of compromise will come directly correlated to the amount, or not the amount of success, but how much you want to invest in your business in every aspect: money, time, energy, you name it. Okay. But it does require a lot from you. But it can also be done in a way that you don't need to lose who you are. And it took me 50 years to realize that I've been losing myself in pleasing everybody else around me and pleasing and being somebody that needed the approval of everybody. And now, today, I realize that I don't. I don't actually need the approval. I mean, it was there, the message. There are moments in my life when I see it that in this moment I acted like I didn't need the approval of anybody, and things worked. When I took the risk, when I said, I'm just going to do it, I don't know what I'm doing half of the time, but I'm just going to do it, it worked. I wasn't thinking of the approval of anybody. I wasn't thinking of what everybody think of me. Uh, I wasn't pleasing anybody. I was just being true to myself. So, if I can give you a little takeaway from this part today is work on yourself before you work on your business. Our business, especially the kind of businesses that we run, our creative cake businesses from home, requires a lot of us, like I said. And are you losing yourself in your business? If you are a little bit or a lot, we do. I'm not judging. I mean, we do. I do most of the time. I think it's time for you to stop and think about who you really are, how you really communicate, how you really say your message. What is the message that you really say? And yeah, I know we're talking about cakes now, Christina, a message with a cake. Yes. What is the story you're telling? What is the outcome that you really want or need? Whatever. But what is it? Who you are in your business. And please work on yourself, because once you work on yourself, you stop bringing all of this nonsense and dragging all of this trash into your business, all of these issues that are actually your issues, not the issues of your business. So feeling like an imposter syndrome, not pricing for profit, not knowing about your business, not investing in your business, not finding the information that you have to have, not taking it seriously, it's not a business problem, it's a you problem. It's a me problem, right? So work on the me problem first and find yourself. I realized that there are 4 pillars that I cannot compromise on. For me, clarity has to become before action. Before whatever I do, I need to be clear on how I'm going to do it and the outcome that I want to have. Priorities beat productivity anytime. I'm not going to say beat. Priorities make you being productive. That's it. You cannot be productive if you do not prioritize what you really need to do. Otherwise, it's just noise. Hustle mentality, and I said it yesterday with Jenny. Hustle mentality is about keeping yourself busy. Systems beat hustle all the time. But the system has to be a system that works for you. That is you. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep it up. And before you hit the burnout, stop, breathe, and find balance. Balance is what's going to prevent burnout. Burnout is not preventing by taking a massage every now and then, and no. Burnout is preventing by balancing every single day. That's it. And another thing I realized, and that is where my teaching mentality came into the game, is I want to help you, but I want you to find your own method. I don't want you to be hooked on me. I don't want you to, it's not about following my method. It's about helping you find the method that you're going to apply yourself so you can leave me. You don't have to be stuck with me. You can learn from me or learn with me. We learn together, we find a way out, and then you go into the world and you do your thing. That's another thing I realized. I don't want you to be stuck with me forever. What I want for my coachees, for my community members is to come to the point that they can graduate. It's like, okay, go, bye. That's it. You're good to go. You have all the tools. You're good to go. I believe, above all, that cake makers and creative business owners deserve to enjoy life, because that's why we decided to create these businesses, because we wanted to work on what we love and enjoy life while we do it. Success requires a lot from us, but it should not require sacrificing the life that you're trying to build. And that has been the constant in all my store. I never wanted to sacrifice the life that I wanted. The thing is, I wasn't sure about the life that I wanted, but once I realized this is the life that I want, this is who I am. And I have to be honest with you guys on the other side of this microphone, this would have never happened to me in my 30s or in my 40s or while I was a young mom or when I was in college. I needed to live all this life. I needed to live all this story. I needed to be part of this journey until I'm 50. And I think it helps being 50, because this is a point in my life where I'm just like, I don't take any BS and I know who I am and I know what I want. And of course, it gets clear for me, it gets clear for my business, it gets clear for you guys in the other side of the microphone. Hopefully, because this episode, it's been a lot. So let's find a little bit of structure in what I share with you today, just to finish. Your story matters. Who you are lies in the story of what brought you up to here. Find that common denominator in your story, because that's your superpower. Talk about your story, talk about who you are, and make it part of your business, because that's what's going to set you apart from the rest. Give yourself permission to be you and to find that uniqueness about yourself in your business, and give yourself permission to build things your own way, because that's the only way you're going to keep it up, when you find the way that works for you. Have your message ready. Very important. Have your message ready. Know your business. Talk about it. So anybody who asks you, you can say who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why you serve them. And maybe talk about your words and your wins too. For me, it's still like, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's me. And give yourself space to remove yourself from the noise. There's a lot of noise out there. Still a lot of noise. We had this conversation with Savannah. I think it was like almost 2 years ago. Still, there's so much noise out there, and it can be overwhelming. So do your thing. And do your thing, be proud of your thing. You don't need to please anybody. You don't. And I hope this storytelling episode has leave you with something tangible and good for your creative and your cake business. Remember that I'm here to help. I'm just a message away. You can contact me anytime through my social media, or actually here, if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a message on Spotify. We can book a call. We can just chat about your needs. And of course, I have my community, the Art of Creative Business, that it's there to help you. My sweet friends and my creative friends, thank you so much for giving me the chance to share this with you. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I hope that any of the things that I share with you today can help you a little bit more on your creative business journey. Thank you so much. And I will leave you as I always leave you. Stay safe and stay creative. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, unsure what to focus next, or like you're constantly busy but not really moving forward, the Art of Creative Business community is for you. Inside, you'll find all the help creative home business owners need to go from feeling scattered to actually having a clear plan, structure, and direction in their business. Remember, you don't have to figure it out your creative business alone. There is a lovely community waiting for you. It's where we talk about real things: mindset, time management, orders, burnout, but we're doing it while we're having fun. So if you're ready to go from an overwhelmed creative with no time to enjoy life to a creative business owner with a plan and a productive business that brings you joy and an income, come and join us. I'll leave you the links in the show notes.